Dan, have you ever wanted an app that collates all the scores and news from your favourite teams in the whole of Europe, Dan? Have you ever wanted that?
Is a constant need of mine, mate, because there's always news. That's the thing, is that we love this game. We love the industry of football because it's ever changing, mate, and you need a place to keep up with it all.
And we have that place exactly for you
sure
guys. It's One Football. Guys, this app is genuinely, it's life-changing.
It's great because I actually I use it. So it's great because it's where I pull the stats from for the podcast. So it's like there's all that new stuff as well, but you can track all of the players' stats from like across Europe for all the different leagues, for continental football as well. It's a dream. It's a dream. And the best part, mate, is it's free.
It's free, and guys, it would help support the channel massively if you check that One Football using the link in the description down below. We promise you guys won't be disappointed. Hello and welcome back to the Villa podcast. Dan, Brentford 2, Aston Villa 1. Wow, what a 90 minutes we've just watched, mate.
Yeah, doesn't it feel like you said that scoreline too much over the last 5 years? I feel like we've Brentford.
I'm sick of it.
Yeah, I know, mate. I thought it was Griffin Park. I was like, yeah, in a new stadium, new manager, they're a different entity now. But no, Brentford remain the official bogey team of the Aston Villa Football Club, man. Like, no matter what status, no matter what position the two clubs are in, we just can't beat these guys away from home.
No, it's a really frustrating one, Dan, because, with no disrespect at all intended, it's Brentford. We know how capable they are of playing wonderful, attractive football, but they are a really physical side and can be effective when they need to be. And, that sort of toughness in the midfield is, I think, something that Villa lacked specifically in the second half, Dan. I don't necessarily think Villa got out of first or second gear today, per se. I mean, things looked really good in general in the first part for the first half until obviously they get the goal. But it feels like there were levels to a performance that Villa just, for whatever reason, weren't able to reach for the first time since Steven Gerrard's walked through the door, mate.
Yeah, it did feel, look, I mean, it's impossible to put a finger on exactly what was going on. I don't think there was ever really a period of the game where we were playing particularly well. I think we were doing all right. We got the goal, and I think it felt like the whole game, like we were just waiting for some individual brilliance, which we got with the goal. It always felt like, it wasn't going to be a game that was won as a result of the system working. It was just sort of waiting for, I thought Buendia played well. It's a shame that, he picked up a knock towards the end and we didn't really see him, but it just sort of felt like we were waiting for the ball to come to his feet and he was going to slice the defence open and Ings was going to make a run. We had the runs going on in behind, but there was just never the spark that was happening when we were on the ball. And you don't really want to rely on that. And I think that's what I've been most impressed with under Steven Gerrard is how well the system has worked as a whole and how, we're winning games because the team is performing well, that we aren't relying on individual moments of brilliance, which was, pretty characteristic of the Dean Smith sort of era as a whole, really. I'm not, as I'm sure, I haven't been onto it yet, but I'm sure that there's the usual post-game meltdown is happening. I'm not quite there yet, but it is, you said before I came on air, mate, the first poor performance of the Steven Gerrard era as the game as a whole. I know the second half against Chelsea wasn't great and stuff like that, but it's never been a pretty bang average to pretty poor 90 minutes. And I guess that's the first time I've seen one.
Yeah, I think that's the only sort of silver lining if you're going to take one. I think it's, when you see the team, I think it's fair to speculate Ollie Watkins is missing the game with COVID and is not on his way to Arsenal like half of Twitter seems to believe. There's a lot of young lads on the bench. I think we had 5 players under the age of 20 included in the matchday squad, which is always good to see. But I don't know, it almost seemed too good to be true, I think, with that Danny Ings goal, Dan. And, I've tweeted and I've seen plenty of others, where's the Danny Ings haters? It almost felt like it was too good to be true with Danny getting his goal. And what a fantastic goal it was, by the way, Dan, with the Begidi spin from Buendia and the slide draw pass into him and the finish from Ings is top notch, mate. And that's what you pay for.
Yeah, it is, mate. There was a pretty alarming stat that I saw on Sky that brought up, Danny Ings has 3 goals in 3 when Ollie Watkins isn't on the pitch. He scored 1 in 11 when he's been playing with Ollie, but without Ollie in the team, when it's just Ings, he has 3 in 3. So those statistics and the headache that you titled a video with the other day, that what are we doing with that front two, man? Because it almost is, I'm very happy that Danny scored, but in a way it's another hindrance, because it's like, what do you do next game? It's just that headache grows ever more serious by the week, it seems, because you sort of see that is what Danny can do. I think we've lost sight of that. I think we really have. I think we've forgotten how good he is. I think Villa fans are criminally underrating that if we get this guy firing, just what he's capable of. But the same can be said of Ollie Watkins. I'm not.
Yeah.
The problem is with this debate is that it's impossible to pick a side, because whenever one is in the team and you're without the other, you miss what the other brings. It's a real problem that we're going to have to sort out soon. It was far from the hindrance today. I do think we missed Tyrone. I think Courtney and Matt Targett is not. I think Matt Targett, is. It's one of those where that's not for me. For where we want to go, you're not going to get there playing House and Targett, as that's half of your back four have been Courtney House and Matt Targett. It's not good enough. It's a shame. Matty Targett is very good, and you struggle to fault him really. But when you get linked to a player like Tagliafico, and you have that moment in the second half where he tries to hit that cross and the volley into JJ, a better quality left back makes that. It's as simple as that, and that is what. And you've said it of Cash at the moment, mate. And I love Matty Cash. I want to get this out there, and I'll back him to the hilt. But even I'm starting to see that if you want to get to the top in the Premier League, you need production from your fullbacks, and we're just not getting enough at the moment. And they're not at fault today. I'm not pinning that on the fullbacks, but if you're looking at a team effort, I think there's not enough coming from those two guys in those wing back spots for me.
No, Villa just need to be nastier, I think, on the pitch as well, Dan. I think we lack the bite that you see in almost all of the top teams. I think, it's hard to pin the goal on just one individual. And I'm by no means, making a scapegoat of anyone, just analysing what I'd seen. In that situation where Matt Targett shouldn't step out there. He doesn't need to engage there. JJ is in no man's land, but he can't engage with the cross because he's already on a yellow card and he's behind the player. But for Matty Targett, when he's made the decision to step out, ultimately, you have to bring the man down. You have to commit the foul. You have to take the yellow card there and take one for the team, because it's that indecisiveness that let Brentford back into this game. Because the minute that ball then goes to the winger, Courtney, for whatever reason, thinks he's going to go and stop the cross, then decides against it. In that situation, when JJ can't recover, Tiggs can't recover, you have to defend the box. As a defender, you have to defend the box. You don't engage with you can't stop the cross at that point. There's no stopping the cross. You have to just you have to clear your lines, clear the box. And that's something that you can rely on Courtney for. And I think in general had a very good game in terms of making headed clearances. He really did deal with most things that came his way. And it's a wonderful goal from Vissa, by the way. It's fantastic, but it's so frustrating because it's them two little lapses of concentration that I think it was the architects of our downfall for the whole game, Dan.
Yeah, mate. I think the first of all is you. I like that if you're watching that game as a neutral, you don't notice any defensive holes in that first goal. You just applaud the finish, and I think we can look into that goal time and time again. I think House needs to do a little bit more once he's alongside, but it's a great goal, man. Like sometimes you just have to say, you know what, fair play. I think that there are elements, but you can sort of overanalyze that. The second one is where there's you can definitely pick out some mistakes that have been made in there. Courtney just needs to get rid of that ball. I think it's one of those, mate, where I think that's just it, man. Is it you can the first goal? I'm happy to hold my hands up and say, you know what, boys, you've just been beaten by a good goal there. I think this, to just bring it out of his feet like that and bend it past Martinez. That's not, that's. You don't see too many players beat Emmy from there, man. So I think you just got to applaud that. But for the second goal, as I said, I think there's more to be said there. I think, as you said, I don't want to, start, hating on anyone or just, overanalyzing things. But yeah, the mistakes are obvious to see with the second goal. And I think that's just why it's a little bit frustrating. But again, I think you don't want to get sucked into just pretending that if those errors weren't there for the goals, then, we would have been okay, because as a team performance, it wasn't great. I think, I think we've got to criticise Trezeguet for the dive at the end, man. I know it's desperate times. I know he's, we don't really see that from Trezeguet, but it's disgusting, man. Like if that had been Salah against us or Bruno against us or anything like that, it's terrible to see, man. I get it's desperate times and everything like that, but you don't want to be seeing that from a Villa player, because, as I said, if opposition player, you just give them tons of shit, wouldn't you? So yeah, I just think as a team, we went out today. McGinn's now suspended as well for Man United, which is another blow, because I felt like we missed him. We really missed him at home. He bits up a needless yellow, and it just feels like it's struggling. It's hard to pick out a positive from that, mate, because Buendia was probably the shining light of that game, but he's picked up a knock. His arm got really nastily buried in a four-way went up for a header. So I mean, hopefully that's okay. But it just feels like, even where the positive comes, there's negatives attached to it, mate.
I mean, it weren't a brilliant performance from John McGinn, I don't think, as well. I think it's fair to say, it's understandable totally coming back from COVID. We don't know how it's affected him. And, we've seen the kind of the potential, effects of what long COVID has had on some athletes as well. So, that's obviously something that you have to kind of add that context to that discussion. I guess that settles a debate that we were having the other day, though, Dan, about what you do with the midfield, with JJ, with John, with Dougie, and Sanson as well, because obviously Morgan comes on and, potentially aggrieved not to have started that game. But overall, it's a really frustrating one. And, to be honest, it's rare, Dan, that we actually hop on this sort of quick after a defeat, or just this quick in general, really. It's been, since the lockdowns when we've had nothing to do. So it's a bit of a different podcast from us, guys. It's a bit more raw. It's a bit of a frustrating one. The first probably justifiable defeat that we've had in the Steven Gerrard era so far, Dan, and it's the first one I think that we can all be sort of bitterly disappointed about, and that's okay. That's fine. We can feel that. That'll be fuel for the next game. We've got United twice, 2 winnable games, Dan, if we're being honest. But, we'll be back discussing transfers, and discussing everything else. There's no time for XG today, guys.
We don't need that today.
No,
don't need that violence.
This one was just time for a bit of event and a conversation. So, guys, if you enjoyed, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, comment your thoughts below, and don't forget to check out OneFootball. The link for that will be in the top line of the description. So, yeah, up the Villa.